Hi everyone. I just wanted to come and do a quick video about suppressing your trauma. I wanted to do this video because I was watching a live where a woman suggested that a young lady who had been sexually abused do a lot of external things to get over her abuse. And she suggested maybe like just overachieving things, always working or keeping herself busy. And while this lady's intentions were very pure, her advice was kind of dangerous because what she was actually encouraging this young lady to do was suppress her trauma. And if you're not familiar with what suppressing your trauma means, it simply means to consciously dismiss it from your mind. So it's there, but you just choose to never address it. And a big misconception that a lot of people have is that not focusing on your abuse will heal you over time. But that's just not the case. And I'm just going to share my experience. And I know we all have different experiences, but I want to give some context of why I'm saying that it's not a good idea to suppress your trauma. As a young girl, I was sexually abused from the age of 6 until I was about 12 years old. I was raped at the age of 15. At the age of 16, I accepted a ride from a man who said that he was just going to drop me off at the bus stop that I was going to. But I got in his car and he passed the bus stop and he made me do something to him in order to take me back. So he said if I did this to him that he would turn around and bring me back to where I was trying to go. I did, but he ended up driving to his house and I got out the car and I ran for dear life. But I had these traumatic things happen to me. I never got counseling. I never addressed the trauma that I had endured because I didn't know how. And as a result, it revealed itself in various ways. I had very bad relationship experiences. In all of my, 33 years of living, I had one true love. One man that I knew really loved me. I didn't have a question of whether he loved me. And to this day, I believe that he still feels something for me. And I do him to an extent. So besides him, other men that I gave my heart to only used me until they were tired of me and they discarded me. And I was left more broken. So I was kind of like, it wasn't back to back, but it was just different times where I was jumping in and out of relationships to try to heal my broken heart. So I would get out of a traumatic relationship. No, I just got out of a traumatic relationship that I will share later. But I met a guy who presented himself to be something that he wasn't. This guy turned out to be married with children he denied having. He used me to get what he wanted because he wasn't getting it from his wife. And I was left to pick up the broken pieces. So one of the outward displays of my trauma was me always running into men whose only intentions were to use me. They kind of, in a way, they were symbolic of my uncle. My uncle used me for his sexual gratification when I was a little girl. And it just left me vulnerable to somehow keep choosing the same men, like men who only wanted to use me. They took all of the goodness that they saw in me and they drained it out of me until they took all that they wanted and they would just disappear. And so I was always left to pick up the broken pieces. So another this outward sign of my trauma was that I experienced depression a lot. I often wanted to die because I felt like I wouldn't have experienced so much heartache if I wasn't alive. And I remember as a little girl, I remember trying to kill myself. And I remember I woke up the next day and I hated God because he wouldn't let me die. And then something else, I had issues with my self-image. I hated, I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. I don't feel that same way now, but then when it was really bad, I felt like, men always told me that I was beautiful, but all they ever did was use me. So I questioned that, like, am I really beautiful? Because if I was, why do I always run into men who just use me and hurt me and discard me? Another outward display of my inward trauma was that I always felt like men were looking at me. Like I was always nervous. And a lot of the times it was just in my head. Another thing with me is I was always tense. Even when driving, I did not know how to relax my body, and I know that that's something that stemmed from when I was abused, because the same feeling that I felt when I was hoping that my uncle wouldn't come for me, those are the feelings that I felt, and I didn't understand why. And a good amount of these issues I'm still like dealing with, but it's not as extreme. But once I decided to look inward, because I reached a point where I was like, why am I always ending up in these bad relationships, and why do I feel like something's wrong with me, and all these things. And that's when I decided like to finally like seek out help. I think I was 30 when I did like decide to go on that journey of facing what happened to me. And it was very hard. Just learning what happened to me and then talking to like therapists, I felt like I was going to die, because it was so traumatic and sad, because it's not something you would ever wish on anyone, but it's something that no kid or teenager should ever have to go through or experience. And so while I grew up and I never addressed what happened to me until very later on, I was still being affected by it, and it was still showing up in my life. I thought, hey, it happened. It happened. I'm okay. I don't need to go back and look at it. But I was still suffering. And so suppressing what happened to me eventually forced me to address it head on, because I was having all these issues. And it's helped a lot. I still have a lot of growing to do, but I believe it would be a lot worse had I just kept it all tucked away and never thought to look inside to see what was really going on with me. So I say all that to say this. The only way you can heal is by addressing what was done to you. In order to heal, you have to understand what was done to you so that you can know that it wasn't your fault. It wasn't supposed to happen to you. But most of all, that you can heal from it. There will always be the memory of it. And you will always have, I believe you will always have moments where you remember and you're sad. But I think you will be a lot further when you decide to take the step in addressing it so that you can heal. The scars will always be there, but you get to the point where it doesn't control your life. Because nothing ever gets healed if you just bury it inside or try to ignore it away by trying to accomplish a ton of things or keeping yourself busy. You have to address it. And the hardest part for people who have been victims of sexual abuse, the hardest part is addressing it, because you will feel like you're going to die, and you will be overwhelmed with the reality that something so bad happened to you, and you will cry for a while. But as you stay on that journey, it gets easier and easier. And before you know it, you can look up and say, I know this scar will always be here, but I'm not where I used to be. And I know that as long as I keep at it, it will get better. I will be better. And then one day I can look back and smile at the progress that I've made. So I'm going to put a book in this video, somewhere in this video. I'm going to put the name of a book. Because honestly, I don't know where, I can't say where you should start, but I can give suggestions, like book suggestions. And so I'm going to link this book at the bottom. Hopefully, I don't know if it's still in print. It's a pretty old book, but it has helped me a lot. And hopefully it can help someone else too. So I hope this video has been helpful, and just stay tuned for more, because I have a lot more to share, a lot more videos to make. I am still kind of going through my own challenges and trying to heal from this horrible experience that I went through, but my passion is to help other people who have been victimized like I was. So if you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and share. And please subscribe, because there's going to be more content on this channel. And hopefully this can turn into a big community of people who have been wounded but are walking the journey towards healing.